All right, everybody, we are back again. Dynasty Mirror Search for Uhuru. And I have the brother Holip Sism on with us today. And we're going to be discussing the topic is Dear Africans, don't regulate Black Americans while everyone else runs wild. And for the most part, I just want to hit the point and really speak on how Black Americans are not the enemy of Africans. And the reason why I say that is because holism. I remember and I told this story before. I remember the first time I went to Africa, right? I told some of my African friends here in America that, look, I'm going to Africa. And of course, I got the disclaimer or the message. Hold on, let me hold on. I'm working on my African accent. Give me a second. Hold on, here we go. Here we go. Dinus, we do not need that militant Black American. We don't need radical Black American in Africa. There is no racism in Africa. No racism in Africa. There is no racism. You Black American, you focus on racism too much. We don't need militant Black American in Africa. We don't need it. So I get to Tanzania, holism. I'm gonna give you the mic in a second, but I just gotta tell the story.
No, go ahead. Knock yourself out.
Okay. So I get to Tanzania, right? And I remember, I get off the plane, go through visa control, all that good stuff, walk outside the airport in Dar es Salaam. We stopped somewhere before I went to the hotel, and I started to notice holism that everything, all the businesses for the most part were owned by Indians, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the hotel I stayed at was Indian owned. This is my first time in Africa. So I remember I leave Dar es Salaam, I go to Zanzibar. And in Zanzibar, you have, they're called curio shops. And curio shops, they're like antique shops.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all owned by Indians. And I remember a couple of stores I went into, the Indian shop owners were just going in on their African employees. Disrespectful as hell, going in. And then I remember one of the Indians pulled me to the side and just started talking hella shit about, and a lot of them are Maasai. People who've been to Zanzibar before or who haven't, you have a lot of Maasai who either work security for the Indian shop owners at night or they work in the shops.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember him just talking just greasy and sideways about the Africans and the Maasai, how lazy they are and how this and that and how they can't do this, they can't do that, how stupid they are. And I'm like, whoa. And I had to check them. And then just traveling throughout Africa, I've been to about 12 countries. Lebanese, Arabs, Indians, Chinese, and white people, they obviously don't get the don't be militant or radical or don't come with your Western mindset message. They don't get that for some reason, holism. But for some odd reason, Black Americans, we get the don't come over to Africa with the Killmonger spirit. Why do you think that is?
Self-hatred is the short answer.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking with my brother Darian Nesbitt, and he made the point. He said that you could take the most hardcore gangster dude in the hood,
mm-hmm.
and if his grandmother was struck by a white drunk driver by accident and she died, and they put a microphone in his face, he would be talking about forgiveness. But if a Black person was a killer, he would probably kill that Black person and their entire family.
Right.
I mean, it's basically self-hatred. The white, like, what do you always say? The white man's ice is colder.
Yeah, white man's ice is colder.
Yeah, That's basically what it is, and it's. I wish that it could be deeper than that, but that's
Yeah,
basically
well,
what
I
it is.
think we overcomplicate it when we try to go deeper. It's really that simple.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard people say, like, it's all of these lines in the sand when it comes to progress with your own people.
Hold on, holopism. I got to write that. We got to do a separate show on that. But repeat that again.
There's always these lines in the sand when it comes to building and progress with your own. Like, I'll give you a perfect example, and I've used this before on other shows. You ever notice when the system wants to oppress you, kill you, discriminate against you, everybody and their mother knows who black is. You notice that that's never ambiguous? When it comes to persecution, when it comes to ass kickings, everybody knows who black is. That is never up for dispute. But the moment you start talking about land, infrastructure, socioeconomic and political power, the first thing you get a Negro saying, well, what is black?
Yeah.
Black is not monolithic. Well,
Yeah.
what is it?
Black,
Why is it now? Is it now all of a sudden black is vague and abstract when we start talking about power? But when they start talking about ass kickings and who the fuck up, we know exactly with laser pinpoint precision what a black person is.
right. But when it's time to build, here comes the races of social construct and everybody is
All this
black. We're not really
philosophical
black.
mumbo
My color is
jumbo.
I'm really brown. I'm not black. You know, races of oh, somebody said in the chat room, Negro stalling tactics. There we
There
go.
you go. There you go. Negro stalling tactics. And that's what it is.
Hold up, you just hit the hammer on the nail. Because again, when it's time to build, you know, it's black what? We're not really black or brown. That's a social construct. But then we're getting our ass whooped in the street. It's black and brown peoples, black and brown
Mm-hmm.
peoples, black and brown coalition.
Right. Right. You see. So as long as you can see the hypocrisy,
Mm-hmm.
that's all that matters. Because like it's funny to me. It's funny how we have this cognitive dissonance.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like they'll sit there and like talk about a coalition, like you said, but then but that's when it comes to like impoverishment, this poor, underprivileged, ghetto youth, this is stuff. When you want to make yourself as sorry as possible so you can appeal to the empathy and sympathy of white folks, then we know what black is. But whenever you start talking about power, that's when you, like what you said, race is a social construct. Everybody gets all philosophical on what black people are. But the police is race a social construct when the police is beating on your ass? When they
No.
say, "Oh, here's a black dude in a car. His car look more expensive than mine. Let me go and fuck with him."
Yeah, where's the we all bleed red argument?
Well, I would like to see some white people bleeding. So just for confirmation alone, since we all bleed red, I'm tired of seeing black blood in the streets. Let's see some white blood in the streets so we can all prove that we all bleed red. I'm just saying, because I don't believe it.
Right. Right. Let's see what we got. Everyone, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. Make sure you get those likes up. We have 107 people watching, only 32 likes. Stop being stingy.
Yeah, get up the likes, y'all. Get up the likes.
Get up the likes.
And hit the subscribe button. Don't get comfortable just because he's at 20K. He need to be at 30. That's
Thank you.
the next goal.
I appreciate it. Thank you. So what let's get to the Liberia thing. Of course, again, they always bring that up as well. Like they'll forget colonialism and slavery,
Mm-hmm.
but they're quick to bring up Liberia.
Mm.
Why? I know there's a simple answer, but we just really have to unpackage this. So, and document this. So there's no, I mean, we might have some issues moving forward, but at least people will is all documented that we addressed it. You know.
Well, let's look at the wise words of our great mongrel Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman said, "How do we stop racism? Stop talking about it. I'm going to stop calling you a white man, and I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man." Boom, racism solved.
Right.
Now I'm going to put that through my my bootlicking Negro translator machine.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a moment because it has to calculate.
Calculate.
Alrighty. Okay, translation complete. What that means is we can all get along when I stop acknowledging who I am and who you are. Also, I need everybody to purchase my brand or else I won't get paid.
Right.
So surely you didn't think there was any altruism attached to my universalism, did you? You know,
Right.
it's funny that the universal niggas is always the one that's getting paid by both white folks and black folks. So of course you don't want that gravy train to stop. You want universalism means everybody buys my product.
Yeah, Will Smith. Yeah, exactly.
So in terms of the Liberia thing, it gets back to the first part, self-hatred.
Mm-hmm.
I ask people, are we benefiting now that the evil African American has been thrown out of power in Liberia? Is Liberia benefiting in any way, shape, or form?
Absolutely not.
What do the people have to say about that?
Hey, hold on.
Like
And,
the
go ahead.
people that are pro, like the people that kick this meme that African Americans are going over to colonize the continent. What do you have to say now that the evil African American has been expunged from power?
Nothing to show for. But you know what's crazy now, Holip? So I read the other day how they are trying to stop the deportations of Liberians here in America back to Liberia. And they're trying to leverage the fact that, well, since Liberia was built by free Black American slaves, don't deport the Liberians back to Liberia.
Who's making that argument?
I got to pull up the article. Let me find it.
Oh,
But yeah,
please do. Oh, this is going to be priceless if it is who I think is making the argument.
hold on. Let me pull it up. Go ahead. Let me
Yeah, this is going to be priceless. But it's like the cognitive dissonance just runs wild in our so-called community. I won't even call it a community. It's just the ad hoc nation that we have. Like I mentioned, here's some cognitive dissonance for you. When Kanye West came out and said that slavery was a choice, a lot of Negroes who identify themselves as YouTube and Facebook pretendians came out and said, "Yeah, it was a choice. You can't blame them." I'm like, "Well, whoa, slow down. I thought you weren't African."
Mm-hmm.
It's like temporarily they forgot their own position. You know what I'm saying? Now all of a sudden I'm like, why are you speaking on the African thing? Wasn't the Africans the one that was enslaved? That wasn't you. Like, move along now. Nothing to see here.
All right, I found the article. So let's see here. Liberia was founded by people enslaved in the U.S. Advocates say the U.S. should not end an immigration program that helps them. So do you think this is specific for Americans or is it for Liberians in general? Because let's see here.
I'm going to take a wild guess that it's for Liberians. I don't think it has anything to do with Americans at all. I'd be shocked if it does. I'll stand corrected.
So let's see here. Let me go through this article real quick. Louise Stevens works 2 jobs to pay the mortgage and put her daughter Eloise, a DACA recipient, through college in Minneapolis. She didn't expect that her own immigration status is what would cause the most doubt for their future. Stevens has deferred enforced departure, DED, a program created in the Clinton administration to shelter Liberians in the U.S. from their country's ruinous civil war. Only about 4,000 Liberians are in the program. It does not apply to any other country. About 745 people have authorization to work with DED. After 18 years of renewals by presidents, both Republican and Democratic, the program was set to expire on March 31st. The White House said Tuesday that it would end the program in 1 year, giving Liberians here with DED until March 31st, 2019 to adjust their status or leave the country lest they become undocumented. It's up to Congress now to come up with a permanent fix. If Liberians leave the U.S., Minnesota, home to the largest community of Liberians in the country, will lose crucial workers. The state depends on many of them to fill essential healthcare positions, the state report found. That 10% of Minnesota's labor pool is foreign-born, and healthcare workers like Stevens are already in short supply.
I'm still a little bit fuzzy on this. Are they talking about native?
Well, see, that's the thing. Well, they're not being specific. Her last name is Stevens, so I'm guessing she's in America, here in America, that left during the Civil War.
And so the argument is what exactly that they're making?
The argument is they shouldn't have to go back to Liberia because Liberia was founded by free slaves from America.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I'm trying to understand that. So, all right.
Okay. So you know, America's free Black Americans founded Liberia.
Right.
At the Civil War. So a lot of the descendants of those free Black slaves came back to America, but obviously they're not considered American; they're considered Liberian.
Right.
So now,
wait, let's stop there. So those people that came back was after the African Americans was put out of power, basically.
Correct.
And so they would be called refugees, right?
Yeah.
Technically?
Yeah, technically, yeah.
Okay. So they're saying that those refugees shouldn't have to go back because Liberia was founded by African Americans.
Correct.
Now that's the part that I'm kind of fuzzy on, and I'm not getting the logic behind that. Like, why does that matter?
Because what they're saying is basically that I guess they're somewhat African American still, since it was founded by African American.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
So their argument is they're not saying that they're Liberian; they're saying that they're actually African American.
Well, descendants of African Americans who founded Liberia.
So technically, wow, that's a slippery slope, man. If you know what I mean. Do you know what I mean by that? Like,
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, that's a slippery slope right there.
Yeah, so
that's interesting. Can you send me that article?
Yeah, I'm sending it to you right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess they're trying to leverage that. But see, at the same time, I know there were some indigenous people that came to America as well. So I don't know if the indigenous were trying to leverage that as well.
That's the part that I'm more interested in, because if you have people that are indigenous and they're coming here, then they can't use that argument.
Right, but you know, however, you know how it is. We as Black Americans, we set this up. We made it easier for them to come. So whatever benefits they can use off of Black Americans, they will.
Right.
So they're not thinking like that. They're just like, look, I'm trying to stay, so I'll go ahead and jump on this bandwagon as well.
Wow.
Even though we wouldn't be in this position if we didn't overthrow the America.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. It's like, but you know, it just goes to show you, like I was saying before, what a hack is, and when somebody doesn't have any clear cut principles, and their principles depend on the situation. I call it that's like typical Donald Trump behavior right there. It's like Donald Trump doesn't really stand for anything. It depends on which way the wind is blowing at that particular time, or who's in his ear, or who's in his circle.
Right.
And that's how I think most people seem to be that way. Like I always felt that I was principled in my stances in that way. If, let's say, for instance, if I was against something and it happened to affect somebody that I didn't like, it didn't matter. I was still against it.
Right.
You know, it doesn't matter whether it's somebody that I'm cool with or not. If it's wrong, it's wrong. If it's right, it's right. That's the way I see it. But a lot of people, it doesn't matter. Like, they'll change their principle according to who it's happening to. Which to
Exactly.
me, I mean, if that's the case, then you really don't have a principle.
True. True. So
So
I mean,
that's a very interesting story there. I got to look more into that. I'm
yeah,
quite sure you're going to do that too.
I am. But yeah, I emailed that to you. But that's interesting.
hmm
So
Yeah, because
basically,
if their mirrors are making that argument, I mean, I can understand it, but that's so. I think that's
well,
setting a very dangerous precedent. Like it's
unpackage it some more. Like, how's it dangerous?
because basically you're saying you're kind of disqualifying what you created.
Right, and then you're supporting the argument indirectly how when we bring up how Black Americans established Liberia, no, y'all didn't. U.S. government helped you guys. You guys are supported by the U.S. government.
Right. Right. Exactly. It's like that's why I say it's a slippery slope. Like this is oh man, it's so difficult. People who don't have principles really have a tough way to go in situations
Right,
like this because you don't have anything that you stand on as a principle. So you have to base it on like what you said. People will embrace it if it fits them or if it benefits them in some way. So if it can keep me in this country, hell yeah, I'm for it. Let's use that as an argument. But you don't see the bigger picture down the line.
right.
So
Because
it just seems to me like you're just disqualifying. Like, all right, I know that we created this, but hey, I'm still African American.
right, exactly.
I'm not really Liberian. I mean, that's just something
Yeah,
we did.
yeah, we never really renounced being Black Americans. We were just,
That
we
was just,
yeah, kind of straddling the fence. We were straddling the fence.
exactly. I'm like, I don't know if I would full throatedly endorse that tactic right there.
Right.
But yeah, like you said, to get back to what we were saying, the show title.
Mhm.
How come the Chinese don't get these disclaimers and lectures?
Or the memo. Yeah, exactly. And then, what's crazy. So you have the situation in Uganda where Chinese migrants who are there doing, whatever migrants do as far as working or whatever, blue collar jobs or whatnot, they're getting all these Ugandan women pregnant.
Hmm.
And same thing in Ghana. And then they're leaving and dipping back to China. So now you have a bunch of mixed Black and Chinese kids running around.
Hmm.
But I guarantee you, if a bunch of Black men went to China and started getting a bunch of Chinese women pregnant and dipping, there would be all types of regulations in place.
Yep.
In fact, even before that, we know better. Like the Chinese has made it clear, if you speak to any African who lives in China, they know not to fuck up.
Hmm. Yeah. Everybody has the hidden hand.
Right.
Everybody has this thing that people know, okay, if I get out of line, this person is going to come for me or this group is going to come for me. So let me just chill because I'm not in my set.
Right.
Us, you know what, brother, I want to ask you this.
Right.
In your travels to Africa and different African countries, have you ever met any African heads of state?
The only person I've ever met was I think he would be considered the mayor of Cotonou, or like
Mhm.
but I really didn't have much dialogue with him. But I was like because when I go to Benin to the Voodoo Festival, I pretty much shadow the Supreme Chief. And
Mhm.
so, he goes before the Voodoo Festival, he goes, shakes hands, hold babies, it's very political, And so I know we went to the house of, I guess you'd be considered the mayor of Cotonou, but I didn't get to chop it up with him. I was just kind of just there, just flying a wall as they were doing their thing. So,
Well, the reason why I asked, and maybe, and please correct me or somebody in the chat room correct me because I might just be an ignorant African American. But one of the things that I would love to ask if I had a sit down with any African head of state, I would like to have more than one because I want to ask this question. How do you feel about the fact that Africa um, doesn't have high-speed rail and transportation going throughout the continent. Like, is that something that you think is a problem, or do you not care about it? Like, how do you feel personally about that as an African leader? Do you feel that there should be some unity amongst the African countries on the continent and some uniformity in terms of technology and things like that? Or is this something that's just an African American radical militant thing?
From my
I would
understanding,
really love to know that.
they're working on it, but again, they really can't do anything without China.
Mm,
China's going to have to build it.
wow. And see, oh man, the funny part about it is building and working with China wouldn't be so bad if we actually had an agenda.
Right.
If we actually had an agenda, I think that, and I had mentioned this before on a show of mine, that people always fear agendas. The people who are the most paranoid about somebody else's agenda is always people that don't have one.
Right. True.
You're terrified of the Chinese in Africa. Why? Because you don't have an agenda. So you'll fall victim to whatever their agenda is. Why? Because you don't have one. So you're just twisting in the wind, going along with whatever's happening. Maybe if you had an actual agenda, then you can work with the China. Just because you work, what do they say? What's that phrase that they say about politics? Or, oh man, I'm drawing a blank on this. But basically, the paraphrase is that there's no such things as permanent um, alliances.
Yeah, of
There's
course.
mutually
Oh, yeah,
beneficial ones.
of course.
So just because you're an ally with some country 1 minute doesn't mean that you're going to be adversarial and confrontational with them the next. Who you align yourself with, a lot depends on what your agenda is and what is going on at that particular time that you need that ally for. It's not about the ally. It's like I often say this. This is the street way of saying it. Learn how to hit it and quit it and stop falling in love.
Right.
Basically, that's just the street way of putting it. Why is it that we fall in love with everybody instead of just using them like they use us? You don't think that the Chinese are using Africans? Of course they are, because they have an agenda and they want something out of it. So then what's wrong with using them? As a matter of fact, when the relationship is mutually beneficial, you can have two people that know they're using each other and they'll still do it.
But it's not mutually beneficial. Maybe
Of
some
course
African
not.
leaders are getting paid, but
Of course not. It's not, because there is no agenda except the personal agenda by the people in power to put some money in their pocket and some cake in the bank. That's not an agenda for a people. But what if the African leaders had an actual agenda to unify Africa? And I'm not even talking about socially unification. That's a little bit too advanced for us. How about technological unification? Shouldn't there be a rail that goes through each one, like throughout the continent, that's uniform in every country?
but hold up, I'm gonna take it a step further. It's in a lot of cases, it's more expensive for me. I could find a cheaper airplane ticket sometimes from direct flight from New Jersey to an African nation than from African nation to African nation,
Wow,
which is crazy.
that's sick. That's sick. That makes absolute, and that's why I said I would love to have that conversation with the heads of state and just ask them, how do you feel about that? Is that something that you even feel is an issue or a problem?
Well, they said they were working on it as far as lowering the prices, but I'm gonna go ahead and keep going. I'm just gonna prove that real quick. I'm gonna pull up some flights. Let's see. Let's just do I know I'm going to let's see. Ivory Coast to Sierra Leone, Freetown.
I mean, as much people as involved in the STEM fields here in America, do you not think utilizing African Americans over here as a resource to help build that infrastructure wouldn't be a thing? What? That would be something that's unacceptable? You have the resource here.
Okay,
I just don't get it, man.
so the go from Abidjan to Freetown, Sierra Leone, a round trip ticket with layovers now is $902. I could find a ticket from New York somewhere to South Africa or Morocco or Nigeria for about that same price.
Wow.
And direct, this is only like a 2-hour flight.
Brother, that is if I think about that and just the level of disunity between the countries in Africa too much, I'll just become too disheartened because it's just sad, man. It's sad that we don't see this. And when I say we, I mean the people that's there. Do you not see what's going on? Or is this just a figment of me and your imagination?
No, it's not a figment of your imagination. There's a lot that needs to be done.
But I really want to question these guys. Like, do you see this as something that need? I mean, is there any sense of urgency to that, or you just want to see the Chinese and the European just raid through your land? But as long as you got some money in your family's pockets, everything is cool.
But remember, the Black American is Thanos.
Right. We're the problem, though. People, we are the problem, even though we don't have any boots on the ground there in any substantial numbers where we actually have taken over a piece of territory. But we're the problem. Our Western mentality is the problem. But these people is running roughshod through your country and through your countries and through your continent, and that's okay. That's building a future for continental African children. I mean, is anybody? I mean, I would imagine that was a conversation. This is why I love Malcolm X so much, because I guarantee you Malcolm X asked him that question. I guarantee you he did. I know for a fact Khalid Mohammed did.
Right.
And it's just sad to me. It's like, so I guess it's like what Killmonger said in the movie. He said, y'all feeling mighty comfortable here.
Exactly.
He said, yo, everything's sweet. You got the vibranium going on, everything's cool. What about all these people out here that's suffering? And from that perspective, he was right.
Mm-hmm. Guys,
it's really sad, man. It's really sad that you have people that head states and can make these moves and can sit down and actually have a conversation with other heads of state.
Well, allegedly, first of all, everybody, let's get the likes up. Please hit that like button. If you're not super chatting, you can at least hit the like button and share. So hit that like button. Exactly. Also subscribe. Hit that. I know a lot of people keep saying they're not getting notifications. You have to hit the bell, the subscription bell, or the little bell next to my name. Hit that bell, and you will get the notifications of when we go live. But yeah, Holip, it's just it's something else. And then it's funny because I would ask. You know, I've been coming from America, I've been to more African countries than a lot of Africans on the continent.
Right.
And I see why, because of a ticket. And, you know, I want to say Sierra Leone is maybe 2 countries over from Ivory Coast.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I said, maybe a 2-hour flight, if even that. And it's $900. That's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And that's because another problem is that there's no technological uniformity. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's like there has to be some uniformity across the board if you're going to be a unified people. Or do you want to? Like, maybe I just want to know, is this an African American thing? Like, is this just me and my ignorant African American ass is thinking about there being a unified Africa? Is that just something that the African American is thinking about?
In fact, here's another one. Hold up. I could get a cheaper ticket from Europe to anywhere in Africa than from an African country to an African country. And this is not we can't blame the radical Black Americans on this. We can't do that. It's not our fault. We can't. Nah.
No, I personally, I think that we're beyond the blame game, no matter who's at fault. We're at the point now where what are we going to do to get out of this situation, or what are we going to do to solve the problem? Because we can blame all day long. We can say the African Americans the problem, this is the problem, blah, blah, blah. The bottom line is, if you're sitting there in a condition and you want that condition to change, what are you going to do to make that change? What has to happen? Like I use this, and I use this as an example of just how brain dead we are. You have your usual troll, Duke of York, and I mentioned this on my show, but I'll mention it here.
Go ahead.
Kala mentioned about the rail throughout the continent and why you can do that in Europe, but you can't do it in Africa. And his brilliant response to Kala's rational, reasonable suggestion is, well, are you a trained engineer, Kala? Like, nigga, what? So every suggestion that I make, I have to be a master in it. If I say we need a bridge built, if I don't know how to build bridges, then God forbid I say that we need a bridge built.
Yeah. We need to ensure that everyone has plumbing. Are you a plumber? You a plumber? Huh?
Yeah.
Huh? You a plumber?
You a plumber? What you talk about?
Yeah.
Plumbing. Like, what the hell is wrong with y'all, man? Everything is like everybody expects you to be a jack of all trades. For me to talk about, I've been told that for me to talk about nationhood, I have to build a nation myself, which I didn't know that was even possible.
Right.
A one-man nation. What is that? I guess I can do that in my house, right? Hey, I am a nation. Yes. What the fuck does that mean? Build a nation myself. I have to know how to build every aspect of infrastructure, or else I shouldn't be talking about it. I mean, what sense does that make? If you know that your child needs to learn algebra, do you have to be an algebra genius in order to make the statement that your kid needs to learn it? But see, these are all classic Negro stalling tactics.
Right.
And if you don't know what a Negro stalling tactic is by now, because they should know it between my show and your show, they should know what this is. A Negro stalling tactic is any tactic that prevents land, infrastructure, and nationhood and social, economic, and political empowerment, where it delays the process. That's a Negro stalling tactic. I'll use as an example, language. Before we can form a nation, we got to learn a new language or existing African language.
Right.
It's classic Negro stalling tactics, because anybody with any common sense would tell you that in order to learn a language and to have that language permeate throughout your culture and be spoken as the main language, how many generations is that going to take? So we have to wait generations before we can start a nation, just so we can say, well, I'm speaking a different. Come on, man.
Right.
It's so many of these things. And I just want people to know when you're dealing with them. Anything that delays the process of empowerment is a Negro stalling tactic. So if you don't know what it is, just ask yourself, is what this person's saying going to delay nationhood? Oh, okay. It's a Negro stalling tactic.
Right. Shout out to brother in the chat room, Malawan Yahoo says, sad that no country has passed legislation to bring us back. Africa loses 90 billion a year, and us African Americans have 2.1 trillion spending power. Any nation which brings us back will become a superpower.
He's right. He's right about that. It's a no-brainer to me.
And then shout out to the other super chats. Ray Gunn says, my pops got a consulting firm in Ghana. My daughter is there too, getting world-class education. Corruption, motivation is the problem on both sides. Now, Ray, when you say both sides, be more specific on who when you say both sides. Terrence Forrest Jr., great discussion. Keep striving for better. That's what we're doing. There we go. Keep striving for better.
Right. I'm for that, man. I'm not with I'm not down with the misery merchant hood. I'm not down. We can have a show. YouTube Live, I think, gives you 8 hours. We would exhaust those 8 hours going through all the problems that are in America and all the problems that are in Africa. To me, it's a tremendous waste of time and energy, and it actually saps people's energy out of them, and they become frustrated, and they say, you know what, throw up their hands up and just let me just do me because this is a bunch of bullshit. I would much rather engage in solution oriented stuff and inspire people and let them know it's not hopeless, man. It's not hopeless. It really isn't. Because there's enough people. I mean, within the BAIO alone, we've come across just so many people that are so interested in nationhood, and they all, and since we're all laymen, it's like none of us are really experts in this stuff. I mean, like I said, I've said this many times. I'm just some dude from Brooklyn, man. I'm a dude from Brooklyn that grew up and listened to all these talking heads and listened to all these ideologies. And I came to a personal conclusion based on all that information that I heard that land infrastructure nationhood seems to be, in my uneducated opinion, the solution to our problems. That's it. In the grand scheme of things, I'm a nobody. Whether you agree with me or disagree with me or don't like me, it's irrelevant. We are dealing with certain problems here in this country, socioeconomic and political problems. What is the solution to those problems? And don't give me no individual solution like growing some goddamn tomatoes or homeschooling. People out here working their ass off. Some parents are working 2, 3 jobs. They don't have time to come home and teach their children trigonometry
Right.
because they don't even know it. Why are you throwing we got these systematic problems that's affecting all of our people, and you throwing this bullshit into their laps and saying, well, what you gonna do with that, nigga? You better get what you gonna do? You gonna homeschool, nigga? You gonna grow some tomatoes? Instead of coming up with a solution, which is how about a nation? How about giving that person something that they can go into and actually help build and maintain? But that's crazy talk. That's that what you call the militant, radical
Yeah.
African American talk.
Yeah.
So I want to
No
hear the other
racism.
talk.
There's no racism.
Since that's radical and militant, what's the rational, reasonable stance to get us socioeconomic and political power anywhere, not only in this country, but on the continent as well? Can somebody offer some suggestions that's not militant and radical?
Of course not.
Yeah, or as usual, what you're going to get is crickets because people can only debate and only be detractors, but they never have any solutions. Because when you have solutions and you put it out there, then what that does is it leaves it up to scrutiny. I'm more than willing to have somebody try to scrutinize land infrastructure nationhood. Knock yourself out. You tell me in your infinite wisdom how having land, building and maintaining infrastructure, and having a nation is not what you need to do to have power. That's a conversation I would love to hear.
Clark Kent 51 says, and why should Black Americans give up their culture when no foreigner that comes here gives up theirs?
What culture are you giving up?
And, and that's exactly what Brian Cole said.
What culture you give? You talking about the culture of getting your face bashed in by 4 or 5 cops? That culture?
I guess he means like soul food and trap music. I don't know.
Soul food and trap. So soul food and trap music is what we are unwilling to give up in order to have a nation. Do you know I would give up soul food and trap music in a heartbeat if I could have some land, infrastructure, and nationhood? Like, what are you willing to
He
sacrifice
says
to
culture.
have a
He
nation?
says music, language, dance, food, etc. The blues, R&B, jazz, hip hop, soul food, Creole food, Gula language.
I'm gonna enlighten people on this. This is something that Amos Wilson said. People are culture. Culture does not exist outside of people. So when you bring like those people that you say that have all of those expressions of culture, because that's what that is. That's an expression of culture. If you take those same people and you put them in another location, how do they lose their culture again? Could you explain that one to me? Since we've established that culture and people are the same, it can't exist outside of people. So what are you losing? All you're doing is changing your location. I don't know. Am I going to get an answer to that?
College in the chat, who says, do they ask Chinese what language they will pick up when Chinese come to Africa?
Right. Aren't the Chinese teaching them Mandarin?
Everybody's talking about learning Mandarin.
Yeah, the Chinese are teaching Mandarin.
To everybody else, but when it comes to Black Americans, how dare you?
And do you know there was somebody, I don't know who it was, but there was somebody in your chat room when we was having that discussion that actually felt that was a good thing that the Africans were learning Chinese. The same person who just got through on a diatribe talking about how we shouldn't take our Western mentality over to the continent. Mm-hmm. Like I said, no cognitive dissonance whatsoever.
Let me play this for you real quick. Hold on. Let me this is a brother, Wode Maya. He's Ghanaian and he lives in China. Everybody needs to hear this. And just the mindset of Africans when they go anywhere outside of Africa versus the mindset of non-Africans when they come to Africa. I just want to play some of this. Hold on one second. Let me
okay.
Let me shout out to Wode Maya, by the way. Screen share, application window, share, present to everyone. Okay, hold on one second. Okay, so this is about a Black American who went to China and was pretty much imprisoned for nothing.
Not been reached. As recently as this March, the judge still has given no timetable for a verdict.
Oh, let me start from the beginning. Hold on. Here we go.
Today.
Once again, and I'm back again with another sad and controversial episode from China. I am doing this episode because of a brother who is currently stuck in a Chinese prison. This brother was falsely accused here in China.
Brother stuck in a Chinese prison. Now, number one, and this is a Black American. Number one, if it were a white person stuck in a Chinese prison, oh golly. The U.S. Embassy, Donald Trump, the outrage. Oh man. But then you'll never hear a story of a Chinese stuck in an African prison, though. Never.
No.
Because they're not being stuck in African prisons.
Not gonna happen. Trying to what? Defend himself from attackers. And he finds himself in trouble. Currently, he's in prison for 1.5 years. And before I continue this episode, I'm gonna let you guys watch the campaign video for Wendell Brown, and you all to join hands and support Wendell Brown for us to bring Wendell Brown back home. But I'll be back just to advise each and every foreigner coming to China, or if you are living in China, I'm here to advise you on how to avoid from all these troubles here in China.
Okay. I want to stop it right there. Do you think Chinese or non-Africans, when they come to Africa, they're getting let me advise you how not to get in trouble in Africa and how to properly conduct yourself?
Nope.
It amazes me. I don't know. But meanwhile, wherever we set foot on the planet, I mean, we had a situation with Bakari Henderson in Greece, China. We have these, we get these memos on how to properly conduct ourselves and, don't get in trouble and don't look side eye at this person, or don't speak too loud and don't defend yourself. Just let them whoop your ass because, you're going to be the one arrested and not them. But when it comes to everybody else coming to Africa, it's free game. Have at it.
Have at it. Do you?
All right, so let me
For over a year and a half, a former American football player has been stuck in a Chinese prison for defending himself from attackers. Wendell Brown grew up in Detroit and was a criminal justice major where he played football at Ball State University. He played professional football in Canada, Austria, and was an ambassador for American football in China.
an ambassador for American football in China, but
Wow.
we can't get an ambassador to get him out of prison.
Wow.
So what's your favorite thing about Chongqing so far?
My favorite thing about Chongqing so far would have to be the people. The people.
The 30-year-old was coaching for a Chinese American football team, the Chongqing Dockers. He was also working as a fitness instructor and teaching Chinese youth American football.
They asked me to come out here and come on board and come help these guys out. And it was just a blessing just to have the opportunity to come out and to be able to give the knowledge that I have with the game and also just my passion and my love for people.
Starting to feel at home on September 24th, 2006.
Starting to feel at home. You can't get comfortable.
Wow.
Getting too comfortable and being black and getting too comfortable in China. That's what that's code for.
Brown joined friends at an upscale bar in Chongqing. In less than 1 minute, he would be pushed into a scuffle, forced to defend himself against flying bottles and two combative men. By the next morning, he would be in a Chinese prison, not knowing when he would get to return home or see his 10-year-old son. In July of 2017, Wendell's case went to trial. The odds were against him, with the courts having a staggering 99% conviction rate.
Hey, 120% for black people.
Wow.
For black people.
Many at the trial said Wendell Brown was clearly proven innocent. A verdict decided by a single judge has still not been reached. As recently as this March, the judge still has given no timetable for a verdict. Today,
Wow.
Wendell Brown is the only black man and American in this Chongqing prison. He reads his Bible and teaches other prisoners CrossFit and says salvation is near. My name is Matt Liston. I also attended Ball State, and I'm a documentarian and sports activist. Unlike the UCLA basketball players who shoplifted in China, no high-profile university or president is coming to the rescue of Wendell.
Ain't that some shit? Now, you are an American, locked up for nothing, and no one is coming to his aid as far as the American government.
And you know what else? Look who's exposing the story.
A white guy.
Yeah.
But you know what else? Man, you have black people, black women who will go to China, right? And allow random Chinese women to touch their hair because they claim that Chinese people rarely have contact with black people. They're, very curious about black people, and they will allow themselves to be a freak show in China, allow them to touch their hair, and they will still, and you have black people who will still spend their vacation money, their hard-earned money, just to take vacation to China. You have this situation. You have the situation in Greece with Bakari Henderson, who gets murdered, young black American brother who gets murdered in Greece, who's the people who committed the crime got off on $500 bail and were allowed to return back home to Serbia. But you have black people who are still organizing trips to go to Greece, not knowing that if something happens to you in one of these countries, the American government is not going to come and do anything for you. You're on your own if something happens to you. But meanwhile, if you convince these same black people to take a vacation in Ghana, they will have every Negro stalling tactic on why not to go.
Boy, oh boy. You know, I was talking about something recently, and this is for the people that are anti having your own nation state.
Mm-hmm.
There was a case in Crown Heights. This was years ago, where a Jewish man killed a African American. I think it was with his car or something like that. Or yeah, it was a car accident. He killed the guy. Because the state of Israel exists and it has no extradition, what did he do?
Oh,
Went to Israel.
Yeah, did. Yeah, of course.
Went to Israel to escape prosecution. Where do you have to go to if you're African American, if you get caught up in some shit where you can escape extradition?
Well, you know, what's his name got away with it. It was a bullshit. Your boy, he went to Tanzania. Pete Brown.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, a lot of us don't even have passports.
Right. But my point is, wouldn't it be great if you had your own nation state in a situation like that?
Oh no, hold on. Let me stop you, Holip. Hold on. Here we go, Holip. Hold on. Here we go. Brother Holip, I am an indigenous Mo. I'm an indigenous Mo from Turtle Island, and I cannot be prosecuted by the US because this is indigenous land. I am an indigenous Mo from
Wow.
Turtle Island.
Oh, you know what? I'm so happy that you mentioned that because I'm going to find this video for you to play on your show. This is going to be my gift to you. One of those guys went in there, the guy with the big funny hat went into the courtroom.
I just had it up, bro. I know exactly what you're saying, and them cops whooped his ass. I know.
Oh no, not that. This was no physical confrontation or nothing. Mm-hmm. The judge owned him with simply one question.
What did he say?
He came in and he said, "You have no jurisdiction." He kept saying, "You have no jurisdiction. You have no jurisdiction." And the judge just asked a logical question and it shut him down. Then why are you here? It's simple. I'm going to send that video to you. I had that video. I was playing that for a while when it went down because it was just proving my point. You keep saying I have no jurisdiction. If you have no jurisdiction, then don't show up to the courtroom. What are you going for? The mere fact that you are there shows they have jurisdiction.
Hold on, I gotta find this one though. Hold on. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Here we go. I think I already signed this for playing this one before though. Hold on.
Grab my grab my stuff. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. You're under arrest. I am not. Excuse me. I am not under arrest. I am not under arrest.
That might be the same guy. It's hard to tell.
I came to Geronimo Bay is here on behalf of the Murphy matter.
I mean, what is this? If I change my name to Bay or L, I can just do whatever I want. And they
I have a funny hat on.
A funny hat and name your name Bay and L. You don't have to adhere to nothing.
Right. Because these are people who really believe that paperwork means something.
Right.
They really believe that this law is legitimate.
We're here on special appropriate persona on the Murphy matter.
Murphy matter.
He has proof that he is not under Murphy.
He has proof that he's not under Murphy.
He's not under Murphy. Oh, he's not his real name.
He's not RJ Murphy. Oh, was that? Is that that's my straw man argument?
Yeah.
And I'm not a part of the corporation of the United States of America, and my birth certificate is a stock, or is that the argument?
Yeah.
That's on the stock exchange and
right.
Badge numbers and everything. I got him. Hey, Geronimo, don't resist. Geronimo, don't resist. I'm not resisting.
Oh, damn, the hat came off. That's it. The hat came off. There you go.
touch, and I can definitely.
See, now they can arrest him because the hat came off.
Yeah.
He's choking him. Choking him. Which officer? Which policy enforcer?
Did he say which policy enforcer?
Yeah.
Which officer?
Yeah.
Y'all have your bag.
See this? Oh, this is beautiful, man. I'm not. It's not beautiful that this is happening to the brother. I don't wish that on nobody. What's beautiful is
I am a private American nationalist.
oh God. What's beautiful about this is that it just can proves my point. And if you want to type this in the chat room, you can type it in the chat room.
Hold on 1 second. Let me stop the screen share real quick. Okay. All right, we're back. All right, go ahead.
Law is an opinion backed by a gun. The only thing that makes the law, black people obey the law, is the fact that there's force behind it. If you have no force behind whatever law or whatever paperwork, that law and that paperwork is meaningless. And you just got an example of it right there.
Hey,
law is an opinion backed by a gun.
But hold on, Holip. I am an indigenous Mo. My name is Dinas L. Bay, and I have a treaty with North Africa. I have a treaty on the books with North Africa, Morocco.
You have a treaty with the government who's never kept any treaties.
Right.
Never honored any treaties, broken all treaties, all agreements, but they're going to honor you with no. Now, where's your army? Do you got any nuclear weapons behind you? Oh, it seems that your ass is going to jail. Or you getting the fuck beat out of you by whoever those agents of the state are.
Right.
We keep thinking that this paperwork doesn't mean anything, man. It means nothing. Paperwork means nothing. Law means nothing. The only thing that means something is what's going to happen if you don't do what they tell you to do. Because I can, like, all the arguments, like, I've heard rational, like, according to the law, you don't have to pay income taxes. According to the law, there's no law that says you have to pay income taxes. Now, you try not paying it.
Exactly.
Try not paying it and see what happens to you.
Ask Wesley Snipes.
So yeah, you can quote the law. Why is it that everybody seems to think that they can come up with the most rational argument and then that's going to be the kryptonite to the white man? The kryptonite to not just the white man, the kryptonite to power is a rational argument being right. What if if the mob comes and they're trying to extort you for money? What if you just say, well, I shouldn't be able to pay extortion to you because I'm a legitimate businessman. That's illegal. Do you think that's going to stop them? They're going to go, oh, shit, he knows it's illegal. God damn it. Now we got to go and extort somebody else. I sent you a thing just now. You guys show me how to do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna
play the thing, but
let me go back real quick to the guy in China real quick. Let me go back to that. It just again, I just want you guys to hear all of the memos and disclaimers that are given to Black people going to China, but obviously Chinese don't get when they're coming to Africa. Hold on, let me go back and play this.
It's up to us. On March of 2018, I joined Wendell Brown's family.
Oh, damn, hold on.
Now we're asking for.
Oh no! This is now. You need to, guys in the chat room, and you Holip Sism. You need to listen to this part right here. Hold on 1 second. This is very important, and this just shows you how they feel about you. And I just don't understand. I don't understand why. And what Black people have to understand, when you travel outside of the country, I don't care about what U.S. passport you have. You are on your own. You got to listen to this. Listen to this part.
I joined Wendell Brown's family in Washington, D.C. to meet with government officials, including the State Department.
Wait for it.
Shortly before they were about to begin, each meeting was canceled.
Did you get that?
Yep.
Including the State Department. Shortly before they were about to begin, each meeting was canceled.
I had a 9:30 meeting, a 10 o'clock meeting, 11 o'clock meeting, and each one of them canceled.
Now we're asking for your help. Please visit bringhomewb.com and print a poster. Then take a photo with it and add it to social media. Hashtag Bring Home Wendell Brown. These photos will be used for our campaign video that will be shared with influencers in China. Together, we can bring home Wendell Brown.
Together, we can bring Wendell Brown back home. I mean, you and I can bring our brother back home with a family. Forget about the country he's from. Forget about the race that he belongs to. Okay, and let's join hands, join this campaign to bring our brother back home. But I want to advise each and every foreigner who is coming to China or staying in China at
Wait for it. Hear it. Wait for it.
the moment, especially our black brothers. I just
Especially our black brothers.
want to tell you guys that if you are in China, you should know that as a foreigner, you are always wrong when you put yourself into trouble.
As a foreigner, you are always wrong when you pull yourself into trouble. Now, hold up. Do you think Chinese, white people, Lebanese, Indians, do they get that same disclaimer when they come to Africa?
Nope.
God.
Nope. That's the clear-cut answer. No.
Mm-hmm. I don't get it. But you will have black people who will come up with every stalling tactic on why every excuse on why we need to go visit China and Greece, where black people will not get justice, but come up with every Negro stalling tactic on why not visit Africa.
Who was the brother, or was it a brother or sister in your chat room that said that the first African nation that brings black folks from America into their nation?
It was a brother.
It was a brother. I agree. I think that that's probably the most profound thing I've heard today on the chat room, and it's the 100% truth. That's what's going to happen. You're going to be a superpower. You're going to be a superpower when you decide to do that. When you make that a policy of your land and you work actively with African Americans, you're going to be a superpower on the continent. And maybe that will serve as an example, and people will want to mimic and copy that example. Let's just hope.
All right, let me
because some Chinese people will come and look for trouble. I'm not saying that all Chinese people, but some Chinese people will intentionally look for trouble, because when you fight back, you're gonna be in trouble.
I mean, I can't watch it anymore.
First, let me just say this. Somebody said that we're saying the guy is cooning. Nobody said that he was cooning. Who said that? We're not talking about him cooning. We said that he's giving the disclaimer to African Americans that other people don't get that same disclaimer. That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
Nobody's calling him a coon. God damn it, man.
Yeah, no one's calling him a coon. It's just, again, when non-blacks come to Africa, they're not giving that disclaimer. But for some reason, when black people travel all over this planet, we're giving that disclaimer. And it's to the point now, even here in America, Holip, where if you're a black American and you commit murder, like in San Francisco, you're going to jail. But if an illegal alien commits murder, they're getting off.
Mm-hmm.
It just happened.
Wait, you went out on me temporarily.
I said it just happened.
Oh.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, I sent you that link.
Oh yeah.
I wanted you to play this, because this is what our people would rather have than land infrastructure nationhood.
All right, hold on, play it right now. Hold on. Hold on, let me share the screen real quick. Hold on.
Yeah, let them see it.
Yeah.
This is what I call the Black Power American, Captain America Negro, militant integrationist national anthem. This is the national anthem. Yeah, who needs land infrastructure nationhood, man? Who needs that? We can do it right here. That's my gift to you. You can use that anytime you want to.
Okay.
You gotta laugh to keep from crying, man. You gotta laugh to keep from crying because it's really sad. Be really like, and the crazy part about it, to get back to what you was talking about before, it's like people are telling you how dangerous it is, and like, I don't want to go to Ghana because it's dangerous. Have you been looking at the news lately here in America?
Of course.
It's only by grace that you're not pulled over and shot and killed. How does a simple ticket escalate to a death? Worst case scenario, if I'm running a red light or if I'm speeding, worst case scenario, I get a ticket. How does that escalate to a death? You know what I'm saying? It's like they take little misdemeanor crime, like I'm jaywalking. Like one of the things, and this story was really telling because this didn't happen to a black person. This happened to a white person. Did you see that story where the cop had the guy? He had his looked like a fucking AR-15 on him. They were in a hallway. The guy was not armed, and he kept giving these stupid instructions to the guy. He said,
"Is this? It was in Arizona, and they were in
yeah,
in the hallway. Yeah,
yeah, like he's telling him, crawl on the ground, crawl toward me. If you move, and the guy's like literally like crying, and he just hauls off and shoots the guy and kills him. The guy had no weapon. Because he made the statement during the thing, if you make the wrong move, I'll shoot you. No, you can't shoot him if he has no weapon. Because he didn't follow an instruction, that means that you can kill him. But this is what we have here in this country that we seem to be so comfortable with because we're safe here. God forbid we go to Ghana, then there's a problem. But we're safe here in America.
Mm-hmm.
You don't follow my instruction. And yeah, he got off.
Yeah, he got off.
He murdered the dude on camera and he got off. And that was a white dude.
Somebody in the chat room said he thought the guy was half black. He was really
yeah, that's probably what it was.
Yeah.
he was probably broken up after he found out it was one of his own.
Mm-hmm.
See, I tell you that's a warning for all you Eminem dudes. You better be careful, but trying to imitate black dudes because it might put you in the same situation as black dudes.
Somebody said, okay, the video I just showed. Somebody says, why laugh at our people's pain?
We laugh to keep from crying.
Yeah.
That's basically it. It's nothing funny about it. Nothing funny at all, man.
Well, it's not even that. It's nothing funny about it. It's just what's funny is when we say, okay, here goes a possible solution. No, what? No, absolutely. Nationhood? No, what? No.
Yo, we should, you know what we should have? We should have the ability to teach our own children their own history. Yo, nigga, you a teacher? Are you certified, nigga? Why are you bringing that up? See, I'm not going to get into that because this is misery merchanthood, and I'm not trying to be a misery merchant. I'm just trying to say. I'm just trying to say.
On a positive note.
Yeah, I'm just trying to say this, man.
Go ahead.
We have the BAIO is in existence, and it's a free forum. It's a social network. Oh, you know what, Dynast? I'm glad we're talking about this because it gives me an opportunity to explain what the BAIO is. Because for some reason, people seem to be under the impression like that you're going into the BAI group and then now all of a sudden, well, where's the land, nigga? Where's this land gonna be at? What we gonna set up? No, it's a social network. It's a social network. What it is you go in there, you sign up for free, you let us know what state you're in, and you let us know what you do. What's your profession, or what do you want to do? If you don't have a profession, but it's something that you're interested in, you go there. And once you get into your state chapter and you find out all the people in your state, then what you do is you start reaching out to those people that live where you live. And notice all of this stuff requires no money. Nobody's asked you for a dime. We're in the mustering stage. My brother Jonathan Hill calls it the mustering stage. And the mustering stage in the military is where you muster up your resources to find out what you have. You count your bullets, you count your guns, you count your people, you count all of the things that you have that's going to help you go to war. Symbolically, in our sense, not actual war. And so that's what we're in. We're in the mustering stage. How many people in each state believe in nationhood? There it is. How many people in each state believe in nationhood? Well, find out if there's other people in your state who believe in nationhood too, and reach out and connect with them. Because unfortunately, well, I don't even say unfortunately, this is just the way it is. There's only going to be about 5% of the 44 million or whatever, how many million of people is in Black America that's going to be down for nationhood or actively involved in the process. And once again, I'll say that doesn't mean that there's going to be 5% going over to Africa. That's not what I'm saying, because you don't have to go over to Africa to be down for nationhood. You just have to support the concept. And supporting it, we're not even asking you to support it financially. Support it in spirit. Like this video. Hit the like button on Search for Yahuru's page. Join the BAIO. Share the video. These are all things that you can do for free. You know? So what we're in the process of doing right now is just trying to find out how many people of like mind are we dealing with that want to engage in the process of nationhood. That's where we are. And that's, to me, I'm feeling very positive about where we are right now. Because a lot more people are signing up to the BAIO site. And like I said, we don't get a dime from that. We pay for the BAIO site. The administrators of that site get together and pool our resources together, and we pay for it so that you don't have to. So none of this stuff is we're not looking to rob people or take people's money or anything like that. We just want you to sign up and show that you're down for land infrastructure nationhood. That's what the BAIO site is for. It's a social network. It's not for you to come in, throw your feet up on the table and say, yo, where's the land at? Where's the plan? I want to know what the plan is. Nigga, who are you? That's what our first question is. Who the fuck is you? How about congregating and meeting people and letting people know who you are and showing that you have a spirit that we can work with rather than coming in shouting orders? Do you let people come into your house doing that shit? Is that socially acceptable for you to come into somebody else's house and throw your feet up and say, yo, when we eating? So I just wanted to clarify that, man.
Absolutely. Well, brother, what we'll do, we'll go ahead and close out, man. Everyone, thank you for joining us. Make sure you hit that like button. Also, make sure you guys go to Holip Sism's page and subscribe, okay? Let me put the link to his YouTube page. Also, sign up for the BAIO if you're interested. But again, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for the support. I really appreciate it. And hopefully you guys found some value in this transmission today.
Peace, y'all.
The next time, family, make sure you go to Search for Uhuru on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and Facebook. Also, Africa Personified on those same platforms. Also, go to searchforhuru.com, Africa Personified.Africa, DynastAmir.com, and Amazon.com. Search your name, Dynasty Amir. Please buy a book. Until next time, family, peace.
Peace.